Hello YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. I think this is approaching my 200th video, which is, I think, pretty cool. Um, I'm going to talk a little bit about, I write music, I'm a composer. I've already written now about a dozen or so pieces just recently, based on some dreams I've had in the past. And I'm going to be doing some more of that. If you guys want me to send you music, I can do that. Um, it won't be amazing sound quality, but I don't charge very much. But definitely you can inquire about that. Comments below. And just for the time being, I might get this all a bit more um, higher quality sound in the future, that sort of thing. So still more commercially, but there's 12. I've already written pieces based on 12 different dreams. One having to do with a giant big fruit in a forest, a big bunch of really colorful fruits in a big forest. Um, um, kind of a picture, an image of a bunch of kids playing sprinklers, and there's some fountains in a kind of a pavement area or that sort of thing. It's kids blowing bubbles. It's kind of more of a happy kind of setting. It's a little bit more overcast weather. Um, Another one having to do with just being behind a theater, kind of a continuous backstage area. Kept going to these different rooms, and eventually we got to. I think we were. I'm not sure if we were in a theater anymore, almost like in a house, but it had some friends of mine, had like relatives. It was kind of anyway, that kind of thing. Anyway, another one has to do with just playing a video game, more of a more intense kind of feeling where you don't want to get shot, but I was having a dream of about playing a video game kind of thing. More, I think, action type or like a jet type thing. It was variable. There's some others that I have as well. Um, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, this next suite of music I'm going to be writing. There's one dream I had where I was in a very tight. The walkways were very narrow and tight. I was in kind of a marina type area with restaurants and all kinds of little shops and things. And I mean, it was very tight. I mean, so tight that like there was I think it was like a house or some kind of residence. It wasn't a house. The areas were too narrow. That each little lot was too small really to be much of a house. I guess it was some kind of residence, and there was an area where there was an angry-looking dog. It jumped up at me and chimney fence, and because whereas the walkway was so narrow, I only had so much room to get away from him, and it's just it's just this little narrow little thing. And I remember I think I had to go to the bathroom or something, so I don't know. I'm not sure if I did. I just either that. I don't know. I eventually went to this restaurant, and I think I had enough money on me for a meal, but I don't know. It was really, really weird and wacky. It was a little bit like I don't know if you've ever seen Batman, the movie from 1960s. It was a little bit like that. Um, yeah, where it was just kind of a little bit corny and a little bit a little 60s-ish, but yeah. Um, so yeah, there's an expensive restaurant. There were bums trying to get money from you. You had to watch your money. It was almost like also there were areas where you weren't sure if you were walking on the ground or a kind of elevated walkway above like piers or if you were walking on their building. You had to be careful. Step, for like flat roofs and things. Okay, so another dream I had in the street, try to get to this a little quicker. Had this giant transparent green cafeteria. I mentioned this to some other friends of mine and other folks before. But, it's this thing of going into this place, this big cafeteria, all the people were eating. You can kind of see through the different floors a little bit, but everything is kind of green tinted. And like there was um, um, some places that had food that you could eat in a buffet type style. There were some things that were kind of hard to find, or in the little niches in this cafeteria, and it was kind of different. It was very colorful, put it that way, but kind of glowing, a little bit different, like a kind of green crystal cafeteria kind of thing. Another dream I had, this is when I was very young. I just remember dreaming of these little glowing stars or twinkling objects in the dark. I walked into I was walking either outside, not outside, I was walking into a closet, but it was really, wherever I was, it was really cool, but I don't know, this is kind of something I can only remember bits and pieces of it, but um, anyway, just a short little dream, as far as I remember. It's probably me a short movement to, and all these dreams are going to be uh, kind of writing music too, or at least music is going to be based on each of these dreams I'll be writing. I'm going to be working on here just a bit. Um, so the another dream I had, I was trying to get as like some kind of Cub Scout church dinner, potluck or whatever, and I was trying to get to dessert, but there were too many people in the way, especially old ladies. You don't should be able to eat. So I was kind of trying to go under the legs, just trying to get to the brownies, and I couldn't get to them in time. I woke up before I could get to the brownies, kind of thing. Or these little brownies with little yellow things in the middle, kind of cream yellow thing. I don't know if maybe you know what I'm talking about. There's also the layer jello type thing, but okay. Also, when I was younger, I had a dream of, this is probably based on Big Bird, or at least I had a dream of a giant bird that was trying to chase me that was a little bit like Big Bird. I think, of course, I liked Big Bird in real life, but I think I was afraid of the big beak, or how big it was. And this thing was not, it was definitely pretty bad. It was evil. It was chasing me, and it had these really intense looking eyes, and a big beak. It was chasing me. It was 8 feet tall. I was this little boy. I remember this must have been, actually I was probably a toddler almost. It might have been Detroit or Livonia, in that area. So, and I'm also, there's another dream I had. This was going to be a little different. The house itself, I was eating dinner. I was having dinner at this place. This family invited me over for dinner. It might have been either just myself or I can't remember offhand if there's anybody else in my family that was there. Anyway, so I was having dinner with this family, and their house was very. It looked like it's kind of based around an idea of an older ships, and so there's a lot of brass, a lot of copper everywhere, a lot of metal things that you use for ships, but also a lot of things having to do with the ocean, so like seashells and I don't know, just pearls and all kinds of stuff like that. And it was all cleaned and everything. It didn't smell bad, I think, but so it was all just it was very kind of blue inside. And for some reason, I sensed the dad was there having dinner. The mom was upstairs, but for some reason, I was afraid. For some reason, that when the mom came down, she might be like a witch or something. Something was very off about the house I was having dinner in. The dad seemed a little bit too happy. He was like kind of like gleeful almost. And so yeah, I didn't stick around to find out what would happen if the mom came downstairs. So that kind of thing. I think I woke up before that happened. It was a funny feeling I had. So then, of course, another dream I had. I dreamt of this big dance hall, but like classical dance hall, and also kind of doubling with a music studio. So there's like music students that were kind of using similar space or on the dance hall, and it was this kind of lighter wood interior, but it was all that was wood, and with some walls being made up of like a pegboard type thing, And the pegboard was like a tannish terracotta color. And on the pegboard it was all these different students. And the higher up the students were on the pegboard, the more skilled they were. And there's all these levels then. And it was very stern instructors for the dance students as well as music students, piano students. It was not a very pleasant experience for any of us. I just remember that. So it has something to do, I think, with music or something having to performance when I was younger. But you know, I mean, it was very fleeting. I think probably most likely this type of dream might be a bit more common for dance students, perhaps the way that the dream was set up. Well, I could see it going for other instruments as well. So this other dream I had, again, I'm getting through some of these different dreams here briefly. I dreamt I was in some kind of was it office park or some kind of, I don't think it was a college. Might have been one of the other two, but whatever it was, there was these big, long, kind of bluish gray buildings. And it was at night. I remember just walking around, and I was not really sure where I was supposed to go or what I was supposed to do. And everywhere I went, it was just dark and these, blue-gray colored buildings, very blocky, rectangular. And, it was just kind of gloomy. And that's the best way of putting it. I remember waking up and I was like, oh, I'm glad that dream was done. I didn't like that dream very much. Anyway, and then, of course, I've had other dreams, some other dreams, really quick here, just mention here, when having the giant insects. There's two different dreams in particular. One was more about wasps, and very large wasps that were very menacing and brightly colored. Another one that was kind of a little bit more, I guess you could say, video game-esque, but it wasn't quite as threatening. But it was kind of a mixture of wasps and spiders and other creatures that were very brightly colored. And sometimes in the second dream, it was almost like there was this little computer screen or something, or whatever my line of sight was, kind of zoom into this type of insect I was looking at, and kind of had these characters I wasn't familiar with. So I couldn't really understand what it was explaining about this insect, but whatever the text was, it was probably explaining something about the insect. So I'm not sure what was going on, some kind of other language going on there. A little bit scary. And then, of course, I'm going to do a few other pieces based on a few other dreams here. What about kind of a library or a school setting? But it was kind of like library, more library in the library. And these different areas of the library had certain colors about it, very like there was a green section and a blue section and a yellow section and a red section. And the library itself was very more aesthetically pleasant, but it had a certain quality to it that I really liked a lot. More of the solid colors rather than just wood colors or those pastel colors that you'll see a lot of newer libraries, like the pastel not lavender, but like just those kind of like the Smarties candy colors, right? For those newer, we're talking like more solid. I don't know. Like the cushions would be green, the green section, the blue section, and these colors would kind of correlate with different types of books or something. And a few other things like that. Playing Light Bright at my grandparents' house. So hopefully, again, if you guys want to hear some of this music that I'm writing, just let me know. And yeah. All right, I will catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.